Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Racy here with Geoff Masters. We're down on the Gold Coast looking at the beautiful Broadwater here. In 1969, Geoff, was a really great and important year for Rod Laver, but you had a role at Milton in that particular year with him, didn't you?
Well, in a sense I did, Peter. It was the first year that I played professional tennis, and the Australian Open was that year played at Milton. And the Australian Open used to move around to different venues at that stage in the early 70s, late 60s. So Australian Open was on at Milton. Of course, Rod went on to win the title, but it was my first professional event. I played Andres Gimeno in the first round, and of course he was an excellent and well-travelled professional who beat me, and then went on to play Rod in the final of the Australian Open that year. And of course that was Rod's first win in 1969 of his first win on the leg of the Grand Slam that he ultimately went on to win.
And he won it at Milton, at that same event that you played with in. And the experience, I mean, I just found it very serendipity that it was your first year, 1969, as a professional. And so a lot of people have commented that that particular Australian Open in Milton was that the players were treated very shabbily. What's your experience of that?
Well, you know, it was a different era, certainly. 1969 is a long time ago. It was, if I recall, it was January. You know what it's like in Brisbane in January, and certainly at Frew Park there, it could get pretty hot. So conditions were hot. It was difficult for spectators to sit out in the sun and enjoy the quality of play that they were seeing. And I remember Rod, I'm sure it was the semi-finals, played Tony Roach on an excessively hot day, and it went for marathon sets, no tiebreakers in those days, and quality of tennis was first rate, but there weren't that many people seeing it because it was just too hot, and of course the facilities for showers and things like that were not as they are today. So different times, but the quality of the tennis was what was a standout. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, no gyms, but a great bar. Right?
Yeah, the clubhouse was impressive.
It is. And a funny little story I'll conclude on is that the ticket office is actually been fully restored and it's sitting at Milton. And if people are interested, if they do the search through the YouTube channel, there's 3 or 4 YouTubes on the restoration and rescue of the Milton ticket office. And with that, we'll say good morning, and we'll be back in a minute. Thank you.
G'day, I'm Hugh Lunn, and I want to tell you about a big year in world tennis, and that was the year 1969, because up until then the amateurs had competed by themselves at the Grand Slam tournaments, and the professionals with Jack Kramer and Pancho Gonzalez went around playing other tournaments and weren't allowed into the Grand Slams. And so in 1969 it was the first full year where the professionals and the amateurs both came in and competed against each other. And Rod Laver, who'd won the Grand Slam as an amateur, then won the Grand Slam as a professional.
Here we have a grill with the distinctive Milton logo on it, which it was known as by everybody that played there. And this was on, as you came off the street, off Milton Road, and you entered, it was on the left of the entrance, and it was really used as a barrier to keep people out of the clubhouse when big tournaments were on, and Davis Cup and such.
Keep them out of the bar.
Keep them out of the bar.